What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some quick Destiny 2 updates. So initially in the video today, we'll touch on the anticipation for a Season 17 reveal. This is something that's absolutely on its way in the next few days, but Bungie also gives some updates on content this week. Of course, the final week of Season 16, so they give us updates on Nightfall weapon drops and playlist issues. And then they give some clarity on changes coming in the new season, and we have a few other things to round up in the video. So, as always guys, I hope you enjoy this one and find it useful. Definitely get subscribed to the channel if you're new, as we're going to have a lot of Season 17 content to discuss, but otherwise let's get into it. And the first thing to touch on today, and one of the big questions in the community, is when are we going to see the trailer for Season 17? And that normal build-up of anticipation for a reveal is kind of reaching its maximum pressure, and with only a few days to go, we're waiting on the official reveal, and I think most of us have managed to avoid big story teasers. We're not certain on a name, theme, or any confirmed info regarding new content itself. But in response to the question about the trailer, DMG helpfully tweeted that the trailer will drop on a day that contains the following letters, D, A, and Y. So of course the inbound reveal is very much confirmed, however, it could happen at any time, and we've seen those season reveals on various different days. But something this week still seems pretty likely, unless Bungie decide to hold off until immediately before the launch next week. Tom Farnsworth from Bungie also suggested that the marketing team is about to spin up. And in anticipation, players are even inspecting private videos inside of Bungie's YouTube playlists, most of which have been there for some time. Man, do we get excited for new content. Either way, I'll keep you guys posted once we get that info, and something which Bungie did however manage to let slip is an early peek at some new gear via the TWAB last week. So a spoiler alert is kind of necessary here, although this is an image that Bungie published and have since redacted. So when the TWAB launched and Bungie revealed the new PvP map last week, the image for the map had 3 Guardians which on closer inspection appear to have some new gear equipped. However, Bungie decided to update the image, removing the Guardians, especially after folks in the community had started kind of inspecting it, which is kind of an unusual thing to do, I suppose. Either Bungie decided that they didn't want to reveal that stuff, or it was some kind of intentional teaser to add it and then remove it. But via Destiny Bulletin, Timothy on Twitter did share a slight enhancement to the original image. So looking at it, the Hunter Cloak is the clearest thing we can see, and it's got this interesting pattern on it, which is somewhat reminiscent of the Cloak of Taniks in Destiny 1, but it isn't identical. And regardless, some players speculate that we could be looking at Fallen themed armor, but it is kind of a loose guess at the moment, and we should remember that we're going to see new Iron Banner gear, as well as other drops from various activities. However, there are some new weapons as well, so on the Warlock's back, we're looking at a possible Trace or Scout rifle. Then possibly the most interesting is what looks to be a new sword on the Titan's back, with a jagged kind of wavy blade. So there's definitely some new gear in there, which is cool. Again, it's just curious that Bungie decided to remove the Guardians from the image. So give us your thoughts below, and again, be sure to stay tuned here for new info and reveals soon. But getting on to some news for this week, with it being the final week of the season, initially players were alarmed to see that the Grandmaster catch-up node was temporarily unavailable around reset time, but Bungie help tweeted that they've resolved that problem, and players should be able to access the node next to the Grandmaster Nightfall playlist, so that's still going to be available for the remainder of the week. Then Bungie help offered a separate update, and they said we've updated the weekly Nightfall weapon rewards pool for the week of May 17th. And the featured Nightfall weapons now are the Palindrome, as well as Plug 1, which is good, because of course we've only had the opportunity to grab those one other time, I believe, this season. And the removed Silicon Neuroma, which was initially the featured weapon this week at reset, but obviously wasn't intended, and they say Silicon Neuroma will be available to earn again next season. So that one's going to stay in that Nightfall pool. And here another content mention relevant for this week, but just in case you missed it, there's a new shader called Photo Finish. And I believe it's the first shader we've had that offers rainbow color cycling for any glow elements on gear. So for sections on weapons, armor, or cosmetics that have a glow that can change color via the shader, this new shader will give a rotating rainbow spectrum color effect, which is pretty cool. But something else worth mentioning about this, you may remember earlier on at the start of this season, players spoke about an exotic shader in the database called Prismatic. And that was never released in its exotic form, then was later removed from the API, but according to database savvy folks, essentially this is the exotic shader Prismatic, but it was reworked into something else. And the name Prismatic definitely makes sense with the effect we can see right there. And this thing looks really cool on various pieces of gear. The 30th anniversary ship right here looks very neat. It'll also apply to the sponsored shell, and the whole ghost essentially becomes a neon light. But let us know which pieces of gear you've been rocking this shader on down in the comments section. Now though, for some extra clarification and information from Bungie community managers. And regarding Iron Banner changes, and the bonuses that we'll be able to get to reputation in the new Iron Banner playlist by equipping Iron Banner gear. Somebody said, could you clarify the Iron Banner bonus for armor will be applied if the Iron Banner armor used is cosmetic, rather than the armor itself? And Liana Rupert pointed out that in the TWAB they did confirm that even Iron Banner ornaments will count as Iron Banner gear, and by having Iron Banner weapons and armor in every slot, we'll get a 200% reputation multiplier when playing through the event. So that's going to be pretty huge. Regarding the Rift game mode, players have been asking, will Rift also be available as a playlist node outside of Iron Banner? And Liana Rupert confirmed that it will be added as a general playlist option in Season 18, and so for the upcoming season it will be exclusively for Iron Banner. They have also responded to numerous questions about Iron Banner bounties and tokens, and for now, all community managers are saying that all tokens as well as bounties will be removed from the game and generally offer no benefit going into Season 17. Of course, based on the past, it's possible that some bounties could stick around and potentially drop a reward of some sort, but that certainly isn't the messaging from Bungie, so it's entirely likely that the bounties will actually be taken out of inventories going into the season, and so holding on to them is a definite risk. But also following the TWAB last week, there was a lot of conversation about Bungie adding the option to purchase 10 Season Pass ranks immediately via the Eververse store. Some players said that this would grant a huge boost for people looking to get into the endgame content quickly, I guess primarily because there's the possibility of the XP boosters in the earlier ranks. But DMG said that it will be far more lucrative to hit the new seasonal activity to get new rewards. However, we do believe that this will be a nice to have, entirely optional purchase for those who want to dive in quick, and we'll be watching feedback as it rolls out to see how it lands next season and using that to inform the future. And again, he reiterates that you can start grinding seasonal weapons on day 1 without purchasing the 10 rank boost by playing the seasonal activity, and we've made sure that there is no massive gameplay benefit to this optional purchase. And so on that subject, I'd be curious to get your thoughts once again. I guess it's something that personally I'd rather not see in the game, but at the same time, I kind of agree that it isn't going to give a massive advantage to anyone, but that's just my opinion, so share your thoughts down below. The final thing to mention for the moment though, Liana Rupert once again reiterated that for folks who aren't receiving Bungie emails, promotion emails, or even some of the community polls that they've been sending via email, they are still working on making sure that everybody is getting those, and there are some back-end issues that are creating that problem. And there were some extra details about that in Bungie's most recent post, so that will be linked down below. However, for today guys, that is what we have to round up in this news video, so a lot of interesting content coming down the road next week. Give us your thoughts once again on what Bungie have spoken about and revealed thus far. And if you've enjoyed the video, a rating below really does help us out on the channel as well. Plus get subscribed if you want to be kept up to date with everything related to Season 17. And otherwise, I hope you guys have an awesome day.